Everybody, hello. Good morning. We will officially start in 5 minutes, so please settle down, take a seat, and I'm seeing you in 5 minutes. Okay. So good morning, everyone. Officially welcome to day 2 of EURAXESS Biennial Conference 2024. I'm glad you made it to day 2 after yesterday's celebrations and after the rich program of day 1. So are you ready? Great. So just a quick introduction from my side, because we have lots of newcomers, or maybe some of you was not here yesterday, which would be worrisome. But so my name is Dalila Coviello, and officially I am the Information System Coordinator of the EURAXESS portal on behalf of the European Commission. But today I wear a special hat, so I will be your Master of Ceremony. I'm very flattered to have this role. And what I want to say is that yesterday, day 1 was beautifully mastered by Justina, who is a professional, a journalist with lots of experience in this field. So my advice for today is lower your expectations, bear with me, and let's try to have fun and to also have a productive day. So without further ado, because we also started a bit later than scheduled, because we waited for the room to be fuller, I would like to introduce the first session of today, which is a key session of every biennial conference of EURAXESS, the Newcomers session. And you may be, let's say, fooled by the name, but despite the name, this is not only a session for actual new joiners of the network, it is also a moment for people being in the network for longer to get a refresh or to share their experience and expertise with actual newcomers. So I would like to help me joining on stage the beautiful duo moderators of today, a female duo. So Elisa Garcia and Therese Lindqvist. Elisa is the coordinator at the Spanish Foundation of Science and Technology, which is actually the Spanish BHO for EURAXESS. And she has also managed 2 editions of our beloved Rebecca program, Researchers Beyond Academia. Therese is the BHO of Sweden, but also she is the coordinator of one of EURAXESS service centers at Linköping University. I hope I went near, okay, the pronunciation, thanks. And then we have 3 brilliant speakers today, so also please join me on stage. Mark De Vos, BHO Denmark, and also co-head of International Staff Mobility at Copenhagen, and Global President for International Dual Career. Svetlana Dimitrova, do you even need an introduction? BHO for Bulgaria, and also she has a specific expertise on supporting refugee researchers and in mentoring. So if any of you needs mentoring to join this network, Svetlana is the person. And Marike Schröder, representative of an EURAXESS service center and also team coordinator of international staff support at University VU Amsterdam. So, welcome everybody. We expect great things from this session. I know that all participants already received a card. So now I will leave the floor to Elisa, because this session will be entirely moderated by people on stage, and have fun.
Thanks, Alida. Thanks for the nice introduction. Good morning, newcomers, newcomers alike, on-the-way experts, and I would say experts. So there's a mixture of competencies going on here. Okay. I'm going to start. Basically, we're going to have exercise in the morning. I think it's good, you know, for healthy reasons to start this session with a very good early morning exercise. So get ready. First thing, everybody has a car here? Okay, what does it say, the car? In the back, it says, what EURAXESS superpowers do you have? Okay, I want to see your card, please. Hold the card. Good. First exercise. Good. Your arm is very nice movement. Great. Okay, now you're going to follow my instruction. I'm the facilitator here, okay? And of course, there will be winners. Yes, it's a game, okay? So in games, there's always winners. Okay, so follow my instructions. Not yet. Don't do it yet. Just when I say, let's start, okay? But I will, you know, so you can follow, okay? So your brain also, I need your brain to hear. Okay, first you will stand up. Okay, let's do it. Come on, stand up. Everybody is standing up. First exercise, legs are okay, the whole body getting ready. Okay, second, you will be exposed to challenge, because actually, as EURAXESS members, service centers, you encounter a lot of challenge. Okay, then you need certain superpowers to tackle this challenge, okay? What happens if you do not have the superpower needed to tackle this challenge? You will sit down and you will do it, okay? And this will be go for rounds and rounds and rounds, endlessly, no, joking. There are not so many challenges. And then, this is the last standing, there will be the winners. Okay, clear? Okay, 1, 2, 3, ready? Yeah. So let's start. Ready? First challenge. You are overwhelmed, okay? Get in the mood. Your institution has been very active in recruiting talent. Unfortunately, regulations of your country regarding working and residency permit have changed. So not only newcomers are exposed to this, also experts, sometimes things change. And you're not fully updated. What superpowers do you need to tackle this challenge? National network, guys. Who doesn't have national network? Everybody has national network icon? Then sit down. Yes, you really need to put up. Okay, why national network to tackle this? Because when one institution provides services, you know, like the ones like this, like working and residency permit, you can do it by yourself. But if you're in a network within your country, you will learn much more quicker. You will share practices, and they will update you too. Every single national network has different organizations, so you should contact your EURAXESS national organization before bridgehead organization. So they are the ones that, they are the voice of EURAXESS centers at national level. They liaise with the EC, national governments, and other organizations. They might participate also in the policy discussions at the national level. And if you want to know more about their role, please go to the Declaration of Commitment, a very important document that you all know because you have signed to be here as members of the network. Okay, you get the taste of the game. Ready for the second challenge? No, the ones you sit down, you don't stand up again. Simple. Okay. You have been required by your board to increase the visibility of the institution internationally and promote your new fellowship scheme worldwide. Come on, which EURAXESS tool you need? This one has EURAXESS Worldwide, says there. Yeah, there is one there. Another one, communication tool. So go spread the word around. If you don't have it, remember these two. If you don't have these two, the two of them, not just one. The combination of the two, sit down, please. Oh. This is a killer. Okay. What is EURAXESS Worldwide? There is a nice workshop afterwards, but I'm going to give you an introduction. It's a network. Yeah, I know there is disappointment in the room, don't worry. Networking tools supporting researchers working outside of Europe who wish to connect or stay connected with Europe. They organize events, webinar publications, you know, so your fellowship scheme could be introduced in one of these events, for example. And of course, get in contact with them because it's a dedicated team ready to help researchers in the 9 global hubs. So they are all over the world. Of course, we also have, like I said, the communication tool. Who hasn't felt the chill when you're about to send an email through emailer to more than 160, how many of them? 51 recipients. Like, oh my God, what I'm going to say here. Then, of course, you can organize an event. There is another communication on the wall. You can paste it there. Hey, guys, I have a new scheme. Please spread the word around your networks. For example, here you have all these tools you can use, ready to use. Ready for the third challenge? One postdoctoral researcher has received an offer from a Hungarian center. And he would like to understand the taxation system before deciding to move there to continue her career. Fair enough. How much I'm going to earn? I don't know anything about Hungarian taxations. Okay. I mean, it's a difficult topic, must say. So, which superpower do you need? Personal assistance. You cannot know everything. This is why it's a network of networks. Okay? Hi. Oof, only a few. Oh my God, I hope we're going to have winners. Okay. Get in touch with your colleagues, I would say, providing personal assistance in 690, a little bit more, members, organizations. Yeah, explore their contacts in the extranet. Filter by expertise. And thanks, Janka, for getting this information from me. More than 150 EURAXESS centers have an expertise in taxation. Of course, the Hungarians are probably the ones with this specific expertise. But, get in contact with them because you cannot know everything, but you can use these resources. They're all for you. Challenge 4. Your team at the Welcoming Center or Career Center has had several misunderstandings with some international researchers with detrimental consequences, all caused by problems in communication. We are in contact with very diverse population with a lot of, different ways of communicating. It's not only the language, it's the way we communicate. What is your superpower here? Toolkits. You need to be trained, you need to have these toolkits, okay? Wow. Okay. So where can you find it? You can find it in the extranet, like for example, this wonderful toolkit specific for this challenge. It's an intercultural assistant for EURAXESS staff, but definitely there are many, many more toolkits within the extranet that you can, and also in the website that you can check, and it will help you for very diverse topics, not only intercultural communication, but also career development, and much more. Okay. Oof. You have received the mandate to integrate better all the onboarding processes of researchers. You would like to pitch the solution of Welcoming Center, but first you want to learn from the best. Okay. Yeah, the people know each other. I didn't know already, eh? Study visits. Okay, who has a study visit? Oh, only 4. Oh my God, 5 over there. Okay, short visits up to 3 days to another EURAXESS center. They can be online or they can be on site. Individual and group studies, yeah. You can find all the information. They are published in the extranet, okay? So check it there. New groups, study visit to be announced in next September, okay? So be ready. No, this is not only this topic. There are many more, but definitely you can learn from the best. Last challenge. Okay, this is the killer. Policy of your country has created an environment that incentivizes the creation of more advanced career development services. You have been approached by your board and asked to present a roadmap for establishing such services. Oof. Where do you find this information? How to start, really, when you don't know how to, Well, go to the library and study a little bit, read. Okay, we have produced tons of information to be able... Okay, so people are laughing. Who is it? Only? Okay, so the library, go there, search, explore and share also useful resources within your network for sure. Okay, and there are more than 90 documents dedicated to career development. You really are, this is a very good starting point to create one of these specific career centers, okay? Who has this car? Who has all these superpowers? Please, a big applause to all of them. You will get a prize. I promise, there is a prize for you. So thank you. Thank you all. Thank you for playing. Thank you. Really, I appreciate that. Otherwise, this would not be so much fun, okay? Just to let you, to finalize this, I would like to tell you that, as EURAXESS member, you have many, many different resources. You can create events, all the superpowers, and there are much more. Of course, we cannot cover every single thing in 15 minutes, but then there are much more. You can have a look in the news and events section and keep updated. Keep there checking what is going on, what other EURAXESS centers are doing. Because you will always have a chance to learn and to get to know more and more resources and tools. Of course, you can also check the information within hubs. You know, there's specific information for certain topics, like beyond academia, like talent management, like startups. And I just encourage you to explore all of these to become a EURAXESS service with superpowers. Thank you all for your attention.
Thank you, Elisa, and congratulations to all the superheroes out there. All of you, I say, not only the, the unicorns in the end. So yes, welcome again to this newcomer session. And the second part, which will be a panel, ranging from about 1 year experience up to 17. So here we can tank a little bit of really good knowledge on what Elisa started us on, all the good benefits we can get from the network, from the portal, from just this gathering we're in right now. Yes, so welcome again, Svetlana, Mark, and Marike. Very nice to have you with us. So you represent sort of 3 interesting perspectives of the EURAXESS network. Today, you represent the BHO network, or the BHO representative, and Mark, the experienced EURAXESS Center, and Marike as a newcomer of a EURAXESS Center. So, great welcome again. But let's start with you, Svetlana. So what is actually a BHO, with all these abbreviations? What is it, and what does your role look like? I think there's...
Okay. So, at the beginning, I was a newcomer just like Marike. And I came in the office and I was looking for support, and it started just like you are coming here for first time. It started with an event and I found friends, I found colleagues, a lot of them, not only in Sofia office, but also in other countries, in other EURAXESS centers, other bridges. And slowly but steadily I learned how it is and what it is to be a bridgehead. And it is exactly a bridge in many directions. It's a bridge between the Commission and the local representatives of the coordinating national network. It's a bridge between the local network and the local ministry. It's a bridge between people, researchers, and their staff that looks for them. So we, at the Bridgehead organization, we are helping all of those. We work, liaise, and support all of these stakeholders in this huge and beautiful network.
Perfect. Do a great job of it. I also, before we continue, of course, I prepared some questions for the panel, but please, all the newcomers, all the experts who want to put them to the test, anything, please use the Slido. I believe there's a QR code that could come up. So if you want to ask questions, please do so, and I'll try to incorporate them. Before we move over to Mark, well, you're actually also BHO. But in this case, you are now also representing EURAXESS Center. So what does your daily work look like at a EURAXESS Center?
Good question. I have a question to you first. Could you please raise your hand, all of you who works in a EURAXESS Center? Just raise your hand, very high up, high up, high up, high up. So you all think you work in a EURAXESS Center. So all the people who don't know if you work in a EURAXESS Center or not, people who have no clue, maybe I do, maybe I don't, could you please raise your hand? Yay, a few. I'm just asking because I started 12 years ago for EURAXESS, and I have the same question, like, oh, I didn't know if I worked for a EURAXESS Center or not. I work at the University of Copenhagen, and we got the EURAXESS Center stamp, and then I thought, oh, then I also work for a EURAXESS Center. That's fantastic. But then I met a lot of you people, I mean, not you, but the older ones, the dinosaurs. And they had these great stories about EURAXESS centers and what they did and all the wonderful things. And I felt a bit insecure, thinking, oh, is that all I need to do? I just do my job. Like, do I also need to know this and that and that? But now, after 12 years, I mean, you become a bit smarter after being a little bit a tiny dinosaur. Now I realize, like, EURAXESS centers in Europe are very, very different. And that's basically what I would like to give to you, is that if you meet people from other European countries, it's very nice to talk to each other and find out, okay, what do you work with? And don't feel challenged thinking, oh, I have to do exactly the same, or I have no clue. Be honest and ask, because we are all very, very different. Like in my office, we have 15 people working with internationalization. And some people are like, gee, it's just me in my little office. We are 15. But that doesn't mean that we are smarter or better. I mean, 15 people is a lot of things. But at the same time, we learn a lot from you people. If you only work one in an office, maybe you work with a topic we don't know anything about. I think that's really good that we are here and share, but don't just ask questions. So I think that's my message to you. So don't think, oh, I'm very insecure. And we are still insecure sometimes. When I hear something from the Commission thinking, should we also do this? Maybe you should, maybe you shouldn't, but take it as a learning. That's kind of... So I don't want to share my work in my EURAXESS center, because I think all of you do different kind of jobs. But when we drink coffee, we can talk to each other and ask each other. I think that's... but don't be too confused, because I walked around here for a whole year thinking, where did I land? And people, we are so different. But so talk to each other. I think that's my message.
Good message, definitely. Marike, maybe you want to respond on that, because you are had almost a year or a little bit more than a year now in the EURAXESS world. So how do you feel about Mark talking about the confusion of coming into this?
Yeah, I recognize that. I'm still getting there. Maybe I also need 12 years to get to the point where Mark is at. Yeah, we do a lot with our team for international researchers. So being a service center, it was like, oh, we're already doing all those kind of things. So I'm still getting the hang of the whole EURAXESS network. So what more is there to find for us, and how can we be part of that? And my first challenge in this year, when I wanted to upload the statistics, was to actually get into the portal. That was kind of a challenge. I'm not sure if anybody else had that issue. But luckily, our BHO in the Netherlands, Evelien, was able to help me with that. And so that was solved in the end as well. But yeah, it's really nice being here to get to know other people who are also in the same position of just started. Our university has been part of the network for a long time, but just recently I joined. Yeah, so still a bit confused, trying to find the ways within the network. But I think in basis we are having a steady network within the Netherlands to help researchers.
I can continue with a question from the audience. So what would you say is the most overwhelming part of being a newcomer? Anything that overwhelmed you in the beginning?
I think it's like yesterday with the presentations on the website, how it was changed. If you see, there's 26,000 pages. So the most overwhelming part is that there's so much information and you don't have the time to read everything. Maybe you don't have to, but it's also a challenge to find the right information. So hopefully the new website, as presented yesterday, will help for better navigation and finding the information, and so that we can better share it with the researchers as well.
It's true. But as we saw in the game, as Elisa mentioned, also the experienced dinosaurs get overwhelmed by information overflow sometimes. So I guess that's something to bring with you also in your work. So another question that Karim is for you maybe then. How do we elect the BHOs?
There are different situations in different countries. For instance, in Bulgaria and many other countries, the National Ministry of Education and Science appoints the BHO. But in some countries, again, like Bulgaria, there are more than one bridget, and they are responsible for different things. For instance, in Austria, they are appointed 2 bridgets, and one of them is responsible for the network and dealing with commission, and the other one is for dealing with industry, which is a very important area for us. And in other countries, in Nordic countries, there are countries that are not appointed by anyone, but they decide between themselves who will be the next bridget for several mandate years. So you see, we are different.
In Finland, for example, it's like every 2 years they shift from one university to another university. In Denmark, it's just up for grabs. It's just because we don't get money for it, so it's like, okay, do you want to put time and effort in this? And people are like, oh, it's a lot of work. So we have been to BHO for 12 years, just because we like it. But if other universities, I know Aarhus University is here, you can also use some time at it if you want to. So it depends on which country you're from, right? And I would like to continue with the next question. I think it's interesting because we work a lot with languages. Somebody on Slido is asking, since most researchers in need are international and very mobile, should we implement English as a language even on a national level? Otherwise, we are looking for researchers that are lost in translation. I think it's a very good question because it really depends on your local situation. Of course, when you work with internationalization, I assume you are able to speak English. Otherwise, everybody is lost in translation. What we do in our office, and I think it's a very good tip, if you can hire people, we try to hire people who have different languages already. For example, I'm from the Netherlands, but I work in Denmark, so I speak Dutch as well. We have colleagues who come from Germany, we have colleagues who come from Turkey, we have different languages in the team, and that helps the translation, that people are less lost in translation. But I think English or German or French, depending on which country you are, I think those are basic language skills you really need to master. And I think also here, everything is in English, so I think everybody will be lost in translation if you cannot speak English.
But with Google now, it's easier. There is text-to-speech.
Yeah. But at the same time, like in local meetings, we have also local meetings where everybody is Danish. Then we speak in Danish, because I think it's nice for a lot of people to speak their local language as well. So I think you should adjust it to the situation.
Good. And maybe another thing for the experienced ones here on stage. What are the top 3 things for a newcomer to know, would you say? Mark or Svetlana?
First thing to know is that you are a network. You're never alone. Whatever happens, you'll find a colleague that will help you. You just need to ask for help or a question. Just like today, you're asking questions, we are answering. If you have question or difficulty, just ask someone, right?
Yeah, I think what I always do, and I'm looking at the Dutch BHO, yeah, it's you. I always offer to talk to people if they have questions, also newcomers, and that's why I think asking question is a good thing. If I were you, I would ask somebody, hopefully somebody with the same language, because you feel most comfortable, and just say, tell me everything about EURAXESS you know. Take 45 minutes and share, because that's the way you learn best. And another tip is, and don't be confused that you are confused, because it takes at least a year or 2 to understand everything about EURAXESS, and you keep on learning new things. We have the top projects, and we have top 1 and top 2 and top 3 and ERA talent project, and I don't know what. You hear a lot of things here around, and it can be confusing, but ask people, because and don't be afraid if you keep on being confused, because there are so many things around. but there are so many people who are there to answer questions. Like HRS4R. But we always have the specialist sitting up there, right? And he is here. And Michelle, you are here, and you would like to talk to everybody, but now you know he is here. So if you HRS4R, you can talk to him, right? And if you think, oh, top projects, top 1, top 3, like Adam, he's there. He knows everything. So ask.
That's a good tip. Thank you. Marike, how do you reflect on what the more experienced people say? What would you like to learn more, or what would you have like to know a year ago?
Well, I guess that indeed I know that there's a lot of projects going on, but I don't know all the details or if we can contribute to the projects and how we can do it. So that's something that it's definitely good to look into, to be more active within the network. Yeah, so that's something that I would look into and take from this.
Good.
Shall I answer the question about promotion within the university? How do you promote EURAXESS within your university? For us, we have a lot of direct contact with the researchers because we do all the services when they come in, so immigration, relocation, accommodation, all those kind of services is provided by my team. So within this communication with the researchers, we always provide them with information about the EURAXESS network as well, and tell them about the network and how they can, how it can help them if they go abroad to other countries, because we have researchers moving around a lot. We tell them about it, but we also have it in our immigration portal where they can find more information about the network and links to the different web pages. So that's for our university.
Good. Yes, another question there. So what to you, Svetlana, maybe then. So what to do if your BHO doesn't live up to the expectations of the network? What would you say?
It's very rare case, but still, if you face this situation, you just first ask your other colleagues and discuss with them. Then go to your superiors, and you may go also to the commission representatives. You may also ask other bridgeheads in other countries. For instance, we are all more or less mentoring each other. If there is a newcomer or if there is a non-responsive bridgehead, all the rest will support you. So you will find the way. Just don't stay and wait. Ask, reach for help, and you'll be fine.
I see a perfect question for Mark, I would say. So are there any specific activities that we could work on together with your EURAXESS colleagues from other countries? I believe you probably have done that time or two.
Yeah, we work a lot with other people in other countries. Now we have the ERA Talent Project, right? And I'm not sure, I mean, it depends on your knowledge, but we have the COPS, Community of Practices. Remember that name if you would like to work together with other people, because we have a lot of COPs created where we work on a certain topic. For example, we are very active with dual career services. And then we organize a few events every single year. We organize webinars, we organize other activities. So if you would like to be active in that specific area, you can, for example, contact Mary, who's sitting there. Yeah.
Good advice. Mary is very helpful.
No, but that's just one example. The focus should not be all on Mary all the time.
For dual career.
Yeah, we also focus on other people. No, but also when you work, for example, with diversity or with gender issues, you can talk to the Swiss team. They are responsible for the COP, working with those issues. And so I suggest you go there, because if you would like to work together, you can already start by saying, oh, we can do a webinar together. I know something about this topic. And then they also, they come in with this topic, and then you can do a webinar together. So I think the COPs are a great opportunity to work together with other people from other countries. It's very low-key, And if you are insecure, thinking, oh, I don't really know, I want to see first, then you say, oh, I'm interested, but I would like to see first, I would like to be part of a webinar, and then maybe a year after you can be part of it. So take it slowly, like one step at a time.
Good. Marike, did you have time yet to work with anyone outside of the Netherlands and collaborate, or would you like to? Have you seen any need to work with other EURAXESS centers maybe?
Well, I think the VU and we had a twinning program in the past, so I think that's something we could pick up on again. I think that's always good to reactivate the alliances that we had in the past, but for some reasons are not there yet now at the moment. I would be interested in working together, of course, with other teams. I think the network is really beneficial because we get a lot of questions from researchers. I'm having to go abroad for a certain amount of time in another EU country. What do I need to do? And then I can directly refer them to the people that can help them on site, because I don't know everything about every country and immigration procedures. I know them for the Netherlands. So I think this, but I would definitely be interested in doing more international cooperation between the VU and another university or service center. Yeah.
Perfect. So we're actually almost running out of time, and I don't see any more questions from the audience, so I just have one final one for all of you going around. So what's your final tip to make the most out of the connection with EURAXESS? What would you say?
The best thing in EURAXESS is that you can choose what you would like to do to specialize in some area. If you would like, you can choose one, other, or the third, and that is always something interesting to learn. So if you're inspired by some of the activities or some of the initiatives that are run by EURAXESS, you're welcome. You'll be developed. If you decide to choose and learn something new, there are other groups, hubs, community of practices, and there is also a database of EURAXESS experts that you can invite, that you can contact for consulting, that you can invite to a webinar together. So that's it.
Mark, what's your best tip?
My piece of advice is about today and tomorrow. It's very comfortable when you are together with your people from your own country to drink coffee together, to have lunch together, but just try to force yourself to think, okay, now we drink coffee and we spread out and just talk to strangers, because everybody here is ready to talk to anybody else. You can just say, hi, who are you? Shake hands and talk. Because it's very comfortable sitting with your friend from the same country, but I think, especially now we are physically in the same space, is that you talk to a lot of people, because in a few weeks or a few months, suddenly you think, it's so cool, I spoke to this person from Poland, because now I have a question about Poland.
Marike, do you have any tip?
Not really. I think everything has been said by these two amazing, experienced people. So nothing to add further.
Okay. So thank you again to Svetlana, Mark, and Marike, and thank you all for watching.
Thanks a lot. Thanks once again to Elisa, Therese, Mark, Svetlana, and Marike for this great start. I think this was a very enlightening introduction to our newcomers. So we hope you feel more connected and ready to dive into the EURAXESS experience. So perfectly on time, which is a thing that rarely happens, as you all know, we move on to session number 2 of today, when we will delve into the latest insights from some of the most relevant related EURAXESS activities. We will hear from the ELA Talent Project from EURAXESS Worldwide. Then we will hear about the European Framework for Research Careers and about the new Charter for Researchers. So I would like to invite on stage the next 4 speakers Jessica Bonanno from APRE BHO Italy and project manager at APRE, previously involved in EU-funded projects working both in Italy and Belgium. Cristina Gomez, a worldwide coordinator and also Marie Curie representatives at the Spanish Federation for Science and Technology from 2014 to 2023. Dario Capezzuto, policy officer at the European Commission, involved in EU policies and instruments for researchers, and with over 10 years of experience as policy advisor at the European Parliament. And Michele Rosaclot, portfolio manager for the HR Excellence in Research, previously serving at DG Grow for the Galileo satellite and a previous international researchers. So a round of applause for the next speakers. We missed one. I would like to give just a couple of minutes for Cristina to join us on stage. I saw her previously, so at least she hasn't changed their mind last minute. She should soon be here so that we can start. And I take this time to remind to the audience, both on-site and online, to save your questions for later, because we will have a question and answer session at the end of all 4 speeches, so you will be able to put your questions at the end of it through Slido. So I would like to start, and maybe Cristina will join us, let's say, meanwhile. So we give the floor to Jessica to hear about the Era Talent project.
So hello everybody. Okay, yeah. So good morning everybody. I am here to present the Era Talent project. I'm here representing EURAXESS Italy BHO together with my colleague Serena. And we also coordinate a project which is Era Talent Platform for Career Development of Researchers in Europe. So why we are talking about Era Talent here at this conference? Era Talent is first of all composed by 34 BHOs from 34 different countries. I believe that most of them are here present to this conference, so I want to thank a lot to all of you because we are working so hard to implement this project, so really thank you for your effort. So what is Era Talent? It's a coordination support action, 36 months long. It is funded under Horizon Europe. And the aim is to support the implementation of the new ERA communication and also develop the services provided by the existing EURAXESS network through reforming of its structure that we always see in these days during the conference. Through the reforming structure with the aim to support the career development of researchers in Europe, expanding the career pathways to them in academia and beyond, so also industry and business. The scope for this ambitious scope will be reached through the establishment of 5 digital hubs. I will tell you something about this in a few minutes, affiliated with the existing network of the EURAXESS. So, where are we now? As it has started in March 2023, we are more or less at halfway, we'd say, because we are at month 15, if I'm not mistaken. So we have a lot of activities still to do. And I would like to show you the main achievements that we have reached so far. And so I will do this brief presentation presenting these 6 main achievements that we are reached. So first of all, of course, one of the most important things in EURAXESS, one of the most instrument thing in EURAXESS Era Talent project is the establishment of the hubs. So we have 5 hubs in Era Talent. 3 of them are already established in the previous project funded under EURAXESS platform. And they are Startup Hub, Researcher Careers in Academia, and Research Career Beyond Academia. They are already established, so I have put here the links, so if you want, you can go check in them and see what they are doing, the activities, and so on. And then we have also new hubs in Era Talent. There are 2, Supporting Talent Circulation and Science for Refugees Hub. For the ones of you that will participate to the workshops this morning and this afternoon, you will know more about these hubs. But what are the hubs? So why are we talking about hubs? They are defined as integrated platforms for thematic cross-border collaboration of EURAXESS service centers and other stakeholders outside of EURAXESS network in engaging and providing services to researchers, research and organizations, and other EURAXESS service centers. So I will just give you some inputs about the establishment, the framework that we have delivered some months ago. The framework has 3 main points, was composed by 3 main points. So the establishment of the hubs, so how we selected the topics, how we select also how to engage policymakers, and all the things that regarding the establishment of the hubs. The operation of the hubs, so what type of activities, how to engage more stakeholders, and of course training and funding and so on. And then also the KPI, so the key performance indicators to measure the impact of the hubs. So are they working well? Are they reaching their objectives? We move on to the call. I believe that most of you have received this news about the call that we have published in November of the 2023. It's the call for multiplying the impact of EURAXESS hubs. It's a funding scheme for third parties under ERA Talent project. I have just put some figures because we are still in the process of the grant agreement, the sub-grant agreement preparation, together with our colleagues of EURAXESS Hungary, that they are really helpful for this. Thanks a lot for this. And we are in the process of signing the grant agreement in these weeks. So as you can see, it was really a successful one because 31 proposals were received and 26 proposals are invited to sign the grant agreement. So it's really huge numbers of people that were interested in these activities. And this call is funding activities under the hubs and other activities of ERA Talent project. Another important thing is that we are the season 2 of the Small Talk podcast. It's really a successful podcast. I also here I put some figures so you can see that it's really a successful one. The podcast, of course, aims to promote the results of ERA Talent project, but gives visibility also to EURAXESS network. So there are a lot of interviews. They are really funny, nice, interesting to researchers to experience. So I really recommend you to check the links that I've put here, Spotify and Buzzsprout, in order to listen to this podcast. They are free of charge, so you can listen to them without registering and so on. Another important milestone that we have reached in the project is the internship program for refugee and displaced researchers in Europe. This is something that is managed by EURAXESS Bulgaria. They are doing a really great work, and this program, of course, supports refugees and displaced researchers integrating into the European labor market. So, as you can see, there are really big numbers, so more than 300 registered researchers, more than 30 registered host organizations. And if you want to know more about this, you can click here, more info. You will be redirected to the EURAXESS Bulgaria website, so you can reach all the information you may need. Another important thing that we are really proud of is they are the study visits. They can be the individual or small group study visits of the EURAXESS network. It's the visit of the EURAXESS network members to another EURAXESS service centers or EURAXESS BHO with the objective of sharing perspective, information, experience. You can see here we have put the study visit, the group study visits that were organized in 2024. The first one was the online one, and the other 3 were on site. If you want to participate, if you want to see how it works, how the reimbursement works, and how you can enroll for this study visit, I really suggest you to click here to more info, list of active study visit. It's managed by the colleagues of EURAXESS Slovakia. They are doing a really great job on this, so I really recommend you to check and to see if you are interested in this type of study visits. I believe that you are also receiving a lot of email via the extranet, so you already know what it is, but I really recommend you to check also the website. Last but not least, I will talk really briefly about the communities of practice that were mentioned also in the talk before. They aim to facilitate discussions and knowledge exchanges for mutual learning and developing practices on selected topics. We have 6 communities of practices. So you can see here the recruitment services toward a career in academia and beyond, talent circulation, social integration in dual careers, cooperation with stakeholders for intersectoral mobility, supporting mobility and procedures, gender diversity with a focus on female researchers, female careers, sorry. If you have checked also the workshops of this afternoon and this morning, there will be also some workshops about this. So I really recommend you to join and to also to understand if you are really interested in joining these communities of practice. We are really in the phase of establishment of the COP. So I really recommend you to check the link here. You will be redirected to the EURAXESS Estonia BHO, because they are the responsible partners for this. They are doing an amazing job in creating the framework and to organize the first activity. We are in the process of recruiting people that want to participate. More than 27 members have been engaged so far. We expect to engage even more. More than 15 meetings have been held together by these members to co-design the operation modalities, to coordinate, to facilitate topical discussions, and also to build the framework that I've already mentioned. I recommend you to check here in this link, because the fact sheet will be published really soon. We were talking about this together with the EURAXESS Estonia BHO. So we have talked about this. We know that it's still in process. There is a great job behind this, and it will be posted on the EURAXESS Estonia website. So I think it's all. So this is my presentation. Of course, if you have questions, even after these days, you can reach us, and stay tuned. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Jessica. Thank you very much. I think this was a very comprehensive overview and update. I think it was very useful also for the new joiners. In the meantime, welcome to the ones arrived now, and I will now pass the floor to Cristina Gomez to talk about EURAXESS Worldwide. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So I'm very honored and very moved to be here, actually. Sorry I was late, because I was chatting with so many colleagues that I haven't seen in years. Yesterday, when Anya and Monica told us to stand up for the more experienced people or the newcomers, I didn't know what to do, because I was part of EURAXESS for 5 years, back in 2009 to 2013. Then I moved on to MSCA, Mariskolska Career Access NCP, and now I'm back as a newcomer since January this year, being the network coordinator for EURAXESS Worldwide. So it was kind of strange yesterday, but I'm really, really happy and excited to be here with all of you talking about EURAXESS Worldwide. So yesterday we heard Kitty going over the history of EURAXESS and mentioning that obviously EURAXESS Worldwide has been part of it from the beginning. Different mandates, different region cover, but at the end of the day, the same goals. That is to connect the rest of the world with Europe regarding research and innovation. So this international arm of EURAXESS takes the form of an impressive team of 13 people. You've met some of them. Victoria, you met her yesterday. She is based in Latin America, in Colombia. We also have here with us today Carles, and I just please a big applause for him, because the two of them are here in representation of the whole team. Carles just started in China in the month of April, and Victoria, you know her, she is one of the most experienced one based in Colombia. So that's the team. You have 2 persons in North America, covering North America and Canada, Jackson and Daria. You have Charlotte and Victoria, both based in Latin America and the Caribbean region. You have Hadmet and Jedil Fana, based in Africa. In India, we have some Rats. In ASEAN, we have a brand new team also, Tatas and Leonie, covering the region. Carles, Judith, who is based in Japan, and Nishan, who is based in Australia, covering also New Zealand. So I think it's important to mention them because, again, yesterday we said, and it was said a good few times in different sessions, behind all these acronyms, institutions, and initiatives, it's actually people moving the world with their professionalism, but also, I think, and that's very important, with their enthusiasm, their creativity, and their willingness to make Europe attractive for the researcher and the research community. So 13 people based in 9 specific regions that are relevant for the European Commission in terms of research and innovation. Beginning of 2024, there was a new framework contract that will last from 2024 to 2027 that is managed at central level by EURAXESS, a Belgian company, with the support of Tecnalia, which is one of the most renowned Spanish research centers, and always in direct coordination and collaboration with the Director General of Research and Innovation at the European Commission, more specifically the International Collaboration Europe. Yesterday, again, the objective of making Europe the place to be and the place to come for researchers was mentioned several times, but I think it's also relevant to talk today, because we are talking about a network that is placed all over the world, to talk about the enhancement of the research and innovation collaboration. So just to frame the activities, I have to refer to the Global Approach communication back in 2021 by the European Commission that set the ground and the strategy to support research and innovation internationalization with the vision to enable an open collaboration on a level playing field and obviously ensuring reciprocity. So we all know that global cooperation is needed. All the actors worldwide are needed to really tackle global challenges such as pandemics or the climate or biodiversity challenges. So, what is the overall objective of the initiative? Is to raise awareness around Europe about Europe being attractive concerning the excellence, research mobility and career opportunities, but also the international collaboration, funding and networking opportunities. And this is done specifically through the promotion of Horizon Europe, Pillar 1 and Pillar 2, but also the EURAXESS services that are provided by all of you in Europe when the researchers move to Europe to carry out their scientific research. Now, to be able to fulfill all these objectives, there is a close collaboration with many local, regional, national, and international stakeholders that have very similar purposes or that work very closely with us. And that I'm just going to mention some of them, but obviously I'm talking about the local national contact points for Horizon Europe. There's a very close collaboration with many of them in the several regions. I normally tend to point out Mariskolowska Creation because that's where I'm coming from, but there's an excellent network, a transnational project named MSCA Net right now that has established a very close collaboration with the EURAXESS worldwide representatives. Obviously, also the scientific diasporas who are in close contact with the representatives, and obviously the EU delegation in the different regions. There are the people that also collaborate very closely to prepare the work plans of these representatives. So the idea is that all the services are well focused, they are aligned with the EU requirements, and they're in synergies with other possible complementary services with similar roles. So just to show you a little bit, but the idea obviously is we use, the representatives use the program Horizon Europe to promote Europe as an attractive research destination through Pillar 1 and also through Pillar 2 with collaborative projects that are open to all the world. But it's not only about promoting Horizon Europe opportunities, it's also about showing and promoting national funded opportunities that are available in the portal and that many of you as EURAXESS bridgehead organization and service centers provide to the hubs. And what are the tools to do all this? Very similarly to the EURAXESS national portals, We use the website, okay? I showed you before, like the 9 different portals. You can click on them and access their different content. Social media plays a very significant role. You have LinkedIn, Twitter, X, you have many Instagram, many social media that these representatives run on a daily basis that really enhance and make bigger the impact of promotion. Flash notes, quarterly newsletters, you name it. A lot of different activities to really animate the network and enable a higher membership in the different regions. Obviously, a lot of information session and practical workshops delivered to the research community and to all the researchers interested and institutions interested in collaborating with Europe. So just to show you some numbers, these are data from 2020 to 2024, including the first quarter of this year, that show you the capacities and the dimension of the network as such. You will see that there's more than 110,000 followers in social media, more than 200 events. I think Dalila and Slaven mentioned these numbers at the beginning yesterday of the conference, and more than 120,000 members in the different regions. And that's a little bit about numbers. What we're going to be talking today in the workshop that we will deliver later on is about the collaboration between the Worldwide family and the EURAXESS family. That is the same family. So you will see in the different websites of the regional representatives of the regions, we do EURAXESS Worldwide profiles, meaning we ask you, British organization in different countries, to update on R&I funding opportunities in your country. All this is displayed and it's visible for all the researchers and the research community in third countries. There have been webinars in different themes on a collaboration basis, always done throughout the different top projects that Kitty was mentioning yesterday, and now via the ERA Talent project as well. So some suggestions for maybe new ideas, new activities, new actions will come out of the webinar, of the workshop that we're going to have in the next half hour. And I think that's all from my side. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, Christina. Thank you. Now we all know more about EURAXESS Worldwide. Of course, if you have further questions, do not forget we are going to have a question and answer session at the end of the presentations. And of course, Christina is here to answer on site. Moving on to the next speaker, I invite to the lectern Dario Capezzuto from the European Commission to talk about the European Framework for Research Careers. Thank you, Dario.
Thank you very much. It is a pleasure to introduce you to the European Framework for Research Careers. Some of you probably will already be aware of it, will be familiar with it, but well, I will then explain it as a refreshment for them and of course as an introduction for the others. And by the way, Dalila, congratulations for your Master of Ceremony assignment, doing very well. I think we can applause for a moment to Dalila for this new role. And well, before diving into the European Framework for Research Careers, which is a Council recommendation adopted in December last year, I will give you a bit of background information, policy context. Well, we have this European research area, which is this ambition to have a single market for researchers, scientific knowledge, and technology. In fact, this has been even given more relevance lately with this LETA report that Manuel was mentioning yesterday. So we have this ambition to have a single market on basically research and innovation, and the Council adopted a Council recommendation on the so-called Pact for Research and Innovation that was back in 2021, which contains a number of priority areas that should be worked in order to improve the European research area. Now, these areas, priority areas for intervention, have been translated into the so-called ERA policy agenda, which is a set of 20 actions to be implemented between 2022 and 2024. So we are towards the end of this period of implementation of this first ERA policy agenda. I say first because this will be continued starting in 2025 with new actions. In the current ERA policy agenda, we have a dedicated action on research careers, namely Action 4. And it is important to note that this is the action towards which member states expressed the highest level of interest. So it is really under everyone's radars. And this interest, we can already tell you, this will continue also in the next ERA policy agenda starting in 2025. Let's have a look now at the challenges for research careers in Europe. Certainly, a big challenge is to have recruitment and working conditions to attract and retain research talents. We also have the big challenge of fighting precarity. We also have to respond to better respond to the labor market's skills needs, and this is linked also to strengthening and facilitating intersectoral mobility. And we also have the need for reforms in order to induce a better balanced circulation of talents in the Union. But what is the population of researchers that we are working for? According to the latest Eurostat figures, we have over 2 million researchers in Europe. About a third of them are doctoral candidates. And overall, we have about a third of researchers working in the academic sector, a bit more than half in the business sector, and 10% in the government sector. We also had a steady increase in the number of researchers in Europe. Since 2012, you can see that we had a 45% increase, which is a very important increase. And you can also see the comparison with the US and China. So we are doing, in general, very well. And overall, we are talking about 1% of the entire labor force in the European Union. Now, what are we doing in the context of Action 4 for these researchers? We are working on an overall package in support of attractive and sustainable research careers. And here, the Council recommendation establishing the European Framework for Research Careers is really the pillar around which we are conducting all our initiatives and activities. So this Council recommendation was adopted in December, and it is important to say also that it includes the new European Charter for Researchers, on which my colleague Michele will speak in a moment. In order to support the implementation of this Council recommendation, we are putting in place or enhancing a number of instruments. And since we are now towards the end of this ERA policy agenda cycle, you can see on the slide many things that you have certainly heard about or are familiar with, including Research Comp, the ERA Talent Platform, EURAXESS, of course, and so on. And we are actually also working on investments in support of better research careers with a pilot call under Horizon Europe for talent ecosystems, where we have cooperation between actors from the various sectors in order to have better working conditions and employability for early career researchers in particular. Let's now have a look at the content of this Council recommendation. And before having a look at the pillars that compose it, I would like to say a couple of words on the instrument that was used, a Council recommendation. So a Council recommendation is not legally binding. It is not like, for example, a directive or a regulation. However, this document was adopted by the Council, by member states. So even though it is not legally binding, there is certainly a good degree of political responsibility by member states for supporting the implementation of its content. In this slide, you have an overview of the pillars that compose this Council recommendation, and we can now briefly dive into the single pillars. So we have a pillar on the definitions, which of course provides a definition of researchers, but it is also important to say that we also acknowledge in this document the importance of careers of research managers and research technicians, even though the Council recommendation acknowledges that there is still work to do to support and frame these careers, work to be done at European level, but also at national level. We also have a revised version of the R1, R4 profiles, so some slightly updated descriptors. But what is also extremely important is that we have, as an annex to the Council recommendation, we have a list of examples of occupations for the R1, R4 profiles across sectors in order to foster the use of these profiles and the use also in terms of vacancies, not only in terms of career structures. The second pillar is on the recognition, interoperability, and comparability of researchers' careers. Here, there are recommendations to have an equal esteem and reward for different career paths. So diversification of careers, but to be recognized. And also, we have recommendations to map the career structures by human resources officers against the R1, R4 profiles. As I said, the table with the examples of occupations that is provided in an annex can really help on this. Recruitment and working conditions, we have recommendations for open, transparent, and merit-based recruitment. We also have, of course, the aspect of improving working conditions, remuneration, stability of employment. We have social protection, including the promotion of resaver, equality and inclusiveness, and we also have some dedicated provisions to support careers and recruitment of early career researchers. We have a pillar dedicated to skills and to mobility, including the development of skills through the use of Research Comp, which is the new European competence framework for researchers. We have recommendations to foster innovation and entrepreneurial mindset in researchers, and also some provisions to eliminate barriers to mobility and to promote interdisciplinary mobility. Now, when it comes to skills, when it comes to intersectoral mobility, I mentioned Research Comp, the European Competence Framework for Researchers. I don't have time to go into details into it, but I think it is really important for you to have just an understanding of what it is. Then you can go and see the website for more information. But basically, this is a tool, very important tool that we developed so that there is a clear understanding of what are the transversal skills that researchers need for careers that are really seamless between sectors. Let's now move back to the pillars. We have a pillar on career assessment, development, and progression. We have here, of course, recognition of all mobility experiences. We have also an alignment of provisions with the ongoing reform of research assessment. So basically what COARA, the Coalition on Advancing Research Assessment, is working on. And then we have provisions for advisory and support services, of course, very relevant for you, as well as provisions for a fair, equal, and inclusive accession and progression system in academia, including via tenure track-like systems. Then we have a pillar on balanced circulation of talents, basically in order to support reforms by member states to make research systems in Europe more attractive. And also we have recommendations to the Commission to support the exchange of good practices. Actually we are working on it with the so-called mutual learning exercise that supports the implementation of this Council recommendation by member states by exchanging good examples of implementation. And then we can move to the final pillars. One is on the support actions for research careers, and you can see here something very familiar for you. So strengthening EURAXESS, the development of the EURATALENT platform, all of this we know that has now become a reality, and of course the new Charter for Researchers that Michele will be speaking about. And finally we have a pillar on monitoring of research careers. We are developing, in partnership with the OECD, an observatory. Basically, this is really starting now, so in 1 year time or less, we should have clear data on this. We have an observatory that will monitor all relevant aspects of research careers so that we have evidence on which we can then develop policies. Before I conclude, I want to point out that we have this Council recommendation, very comprehensive document, as you saw, and now the focus is on its implementation, and for its implementation, there is a need for a collective effort. So we are working with member states. I mentioned the mutual learning exercise that we are starting now. We are also developing other initiatives, but there is really the need from each and every one of us, of you, to support the implementation of relevant provisions. So I really encourage to use this document as much as possible in conducting your daily work. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot. Thank you, Dario. Before inviting to the lectern our next speaker, I would kindly like to ask the Reggie to share once again the Slido QR code, since we will open the floor for questions right after the last presentation. So if you have some questions, you can already send them on a screen, and they will appear at the end of the last presentation. So now is the turn of Michele Rosaclot to talk about the new Charter for Researchers. Thank you, Michele.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you for having me here. I have an easy task because many things were said yesterday and today, which are extremely relevant for what I will present now. I will then, more than being too descriptive, go to a series of key points that I think are really important to take away with you about the new Charter for Research and its implementation. Everything has to be developed more in depth, of course, so as Mark said before, I'm here, don't hesitate to come and see me. I expect a lot from the workshop that will follow on the synergies on EURAXESS and the human resources excellence in research. But for now, I will stick to the European Charter for Researchers. Yes, I got it. Everything started, actually, in 2005 with a council, we'll get there, with a commission recommendation. So last year, the charter and code came of age, was 18 years old. And after 18 years, this has to be renewed, strengthened, adapted, modernized, made fit to tackle new issues. And all that was a long process, took some time, but we think we got there with the annex to the Council recommendation. In 2005, the Charter and Code was issued as a tool to strengthen the ERA and had two pillars, two main pieces. One directed to the Charter, directed to researchers, and the second one, the Code of Conduct for recruiters and funders, that was addressed to recruiters to describe at best, to push forward ethical principles for generating the better context for recruiting researchers. The Charter and Code was based, yes, I mentioned look at it, on 4 main pillars. You all know probably already in depth all that. 4 pillars: working conditions, social security, recruitment, training, career development, and ethical aspects. Articulated in 40 principles. I'm going slow there, but I will accelerate after. 40 principles ranging from research freedom, gender balance, open, transparent, merit-based recruitment. I will not go through all the principles, you know it pretty well. But I would like to insist on this structure because this is one of the points where exactly a lot of work went into. How they are presented, they are organized, they are phrased, what are the issues and the problems that they are tackling directly, are they still viable, still present, do they need to be developed? But before going to that, just a small parenthesis, that's my only slide on what it has been mentioned as the HRS4R, Human Resources Strategy for Researchers, which is the mechanism to implement the Charter and Code. This was put in place in 2008, so that too is not exactly too young, and is addressed to institution, research performing institution. But there is something I want to really, that's my first message, I want to really make clear. Yes, it is addressed to institution. Institution will have to develop gap analysis and action plans to show their best effort and their motivation and work towards the implementation of the Charter and Code. However, the ultimate object of the Charter and Code, the ultimate beneficiary of the Charter and Code are researchers. And that is a message that I will not stress enough because sometimes we lose the dimension of that. Institutions are focusing too much on their work, forgetting that all this work is meant to develop a working condition favorable for researchers, for their mobility, for the attraction of talents, for creating a balanced working condition, taking into account good brain conditions, salaries, recruitment, mobility, stability, mental health, gender balance, so forth, so on. All the principles of the Charter and Code. Just to give you an idea of the dimension of what the HR world is now, we are talking about 720 institutions throughout 39 countries, not only the European one, of course, with a diverse distribution over the world. The further is Australia, I think, but we also have other countries and, of course, the European member states. Now, Dario, in the presentation that preceded me, already spoke about the new challenges for researchers and for research careers. There is one that I would like to stress here, that it's extremely important to shape the entire dimension of the new Charter for researchers, which is the asymmetry that exists between the job opportunities for researchers and the skills that they are carrying. We have now a very good idea, the fact that the researchers that are formed professionally within the academia, only a portion of them will be able to remain in the academia profession. Most of them will have to look beyond it. That's why, and I will come back to that in a second, intersectorality is one key point of the new Charter for Researchers. Another thing that is extremely important in the new Charter, in the philosophy of the new Charter, is the fact that the academia and the world beyond the academia, small and medium enterprises, industry, the public sector, they have to be made aware that the skills that the researchers are carrying with them are extremely relevant to their needs. At the same time, researchers and academia, they have to be made aware that the skills they are forming researchers for are exactly the same skills that the world beyond the academia will look for. So the asymmetry has to be reduced. The two dimensions, they have to talk to each other and enter in synergy. So, key messages. The new Charter for Researchers addresses, that was already said in the old Charter and Code, but this is spelled out even more clearly. All researchers across all disciplines, not only STEM, but also SSH, etc., and across all sectors, not only academia, but beyond academia as well. The new policy measures included in the Charter, in the new European Charter for Researchers, I will not go through them, all of them, but all keywords that you all know, is in diversity, research integrity, open science, etc. And another thing that was widely requested by the base implementing the Charter for Researchers, streamlining, simplifying, reducing the number of principles, avoid repetitions. And this is why, voila, the new European Charter for Researchers is not completely different at all. The fact that in the title we lost the code for recruiters is only the title. In reality, all the principles on open, transparent, merit-based recruitment and all the other principles addressed to recruiters are in the European Charter for Researchers. The 4 pillars and the number of principles, the 4 pillars remain 4 pillars organized differently. The 40 principles of the European Charter and Code are reduced to 20 principles, but I insist, another important things to stress, no principle has been lost. They have all been reorganized, streamlined, merged, and new policy measures. Gender balance became gender equality. Open science has been brought to the forefront. Mental health, non-discrimination principles that have been brought to the front and spelled out. So, again, the new European Charter for Researchers is a new document, has entered into force already. Its implementation has not, as was mentioned yesterday, is work in progress. So as soon we will have novelty, you will be informed. But all that is converging towards the direction of a better, stronger, and more efficient mechanism to implement the ERA. And that was my last slide. So of course, I remain at your disposal for any question and clarification.
Thank you very much, Michele. Thanks a lot. So now we open the floor to some questions for our speakers. I know that we already have several on Slido, so I think we can start. I'm going to start reading the first one I see. How can EURAXESS Europe colleagues make better use of EURAXESS worldwide network? This is definitely for Christina.
Yes, indeed. Yes, okay. Thank you for the question. So actually this is one we're going to be talking about in the workshop that we're holding now in the next half an hour. So I guess we will have more information on concrete details for tomorrow's session. But there are a few things here. I will say the first one is just reach out to them. Reach out to them when you want to promote specific funding opportunities in your institution, in your country. Reach out to them when you want to promote a hosting offer, for instance, for your institution willing to apply for a postdoctoral fellowship in Amerisco's Reaction for Horizon Europe. That's possibilities. Reach out to them if you want to learn any of the many languages that they speak, 6 minimum. It's a prerequisite to be part of the EURAXESS worldwide team. That's just a joke. But I think we will take this question maybe tomorrow with specific answers to that. So I don't want to take more time on that.
Thank you, Cristina. Let's move on to the next one. This may be for Dario. Can you share some more details on the upcoming call for talent ecosystems? It keeps on switching.
Yes, thank you very much. So indeed, this is an important call because it is the investment strand of the Action 4 that I mentioned before. So what do we aim to achieve with this? We aim to foster the implementation of the new standards set by the Council recommendation on the Framework for Research Careers and the new Charter for Researchers. So this call, which by the way is already open, it opened on the 15th of May and it will close on the 25th of September. This is a call that aims at having intersectoral consortia putting together trainers and employers of researchers who join forces in order to implement the new standards, and therefore they basically will grant better working conditions to researchers, but they will also cooperate among each others in an ecosystem way in order to make sure that there is better employability for researchers, but in particular with a focus on early career researchers. So I hope that this answers the question, but certainly I invite you to have a look at this and to support as much as possible proposals for this call, which is also quite substantial in terms of funding with 20 million euros, and we expect about 15 projects to be funded. So once again, encouragement for you.
Thank you, Dario. Now one for Michele, maybe. Will there be a similar charter for research managers?
Short reply. Managers, research managers, are now included explicitly in the new Framework for Researchers and Charter for Researchers as one of the possible future occupations for researchers. So, overall, they are tackled explicitly. Now, if there will be a specific charter addressed to researchers only, that I do not know yet. Maybe you know more?
No, I will say that it is not on the table yet, but certainly what I can tell you is that, as Michele was saying, the Charter for Researchers is addressed to researchers in all sectors, and basically research managers, as far as we know, in most cases are researchers. So the current Charter for Researchers already applies to a certain extent to them. Then, of course, research management is a career also for non-researchers. So for that, we will have to reflect in the future.
Thank you. And we continue with a question that asks, since there is already a framework defining research careers and their competencies, is there any action foreseen to develop and implement a similar framework for research managers or technicians? Since the recommendation already recognizes this role, I think you partially answered, but if you want to add something else, please go ahead.
Yes, thank you. Well, in fact, I can say that there is work ongoing on research management in the context of one of the actions of the ERA policy agenda, which is mentioned in the question, Action 17. And there are two projects that are supporting the implementation of this action, two projects supported under Horizon Europe. And I think that at least one of them is working on a career framework for research managers. So there is certainly something going on this.
Michele, with the new Charter for Researchers, what will happen with organizations that received their award based on the previous one?
I will actually reply to that
also
question
the other
and
one
the
about the
following
single
one.
PDF. Please go ahead.
Okay. As it is clarified in the Framework for Researchers, the institutions who were awarded under the old Charter and Code will continue to be awarded and will continue progressing on implementation through the HR Excellence in Research Award. This means that they will conclude any phase they are in under the old charter, and they will start the new one under the new charter. When this will happen, it will happen obviously when the new e-tool will be online. As mentioned yesterday, this is work in progress. Currently, the work in progress has a theoretical deadline that is Q4 this year. So the new application under the new European Charter, under the 20 principles of the new Charter, will be feasible at the end of the year.
Thank you, Michele. There was a question for Jessica. I do not see it anymore on screen, but maybe I'll just put it to you. It was asking if BHOs can apply to ERA Talent initiatives.
So I would say that the reply is it depends, because I believe that for some activities related to the hubs should be no problem. I also participate to some of them, so and I'm a BHO, so I guess that we can. But for the communities of practice, in the fact sheet, we will see if the BHOs are eligible or not. But I guess that in principle, the reply is yes, they can. If you are talking about the FSTP, so the funding scheme for third parties, it was already closed, as I said, in January. But one thing that was really important, I wrote in the slide, but I didn't mention, is that could apply only the centers that were not part of ERA Talent project as partners in the consortium. So this was the mention. So I believe that yes, they can apply. It depends on what type of initiative, but should be also the fact sheet and the regulations for each initiative to understand if they can. But in principle, yes.
Perfect. Thanks a lot. Maybe one more for Cristina. EURAXESS worldwide. What is the role of the EU delegations?
Okay. So the delegations of the European Union to specific countries or regions normally have science counselors or head of units that are related with R&I aspects, and those are the people the representatives collaborate with in order to establish the proper activities and the activities that really help fulfill the objectives of the mandate. So those will be in very close contact together, obviously, with the European Commission desk officers in Brussels for the region to really help understand and defining the actions that need to be done on promotional basis.
Thank you. And Michele, maybe you want to specify something about this. When can organizations start using the new charter for HRS for our applications?
Same reply as before. When the e-tool for the new charter, for the tackling the new charter, therefore under 20 principles instead of 40, will be online, meaning probably at the end of the year, Q4.
And I think we have one last question, and it's still for you, Michele, very popular. HRS4R, how can a university suddenly use 20 principles instead of 40 if doing a renewal?
I will, well, more than in my previous reply. This is the reason, since it's not possible to cut from, say, suddenly whatever work you have done up to now is not valid anymore. There will be a 3 years transition period. Every renewal will continue under the Charter and Code, if started under the Charter and Code, until the renewal is successful. This means, now I'm getting a bit technical, but the question was technical. It means that if the renewal needs minor modifications, even that will be done under the old Charter and Code. Only after the renewal is successful and the award is granted for other 3 years, then the institution will tackle the following renewal under the new Charter for researchers.
Thank you, Michele. I think we still have time to take one last question. A recent council discussed knowledge valorization activities. Do you plan on any action to help researchers and innovators and upskilling them for knowledge valorization? Maybe Dario, you want to answer this?
Yes. Well, knowledge valorization, it is certainly very important for researchers. It is part of the intersectoral mobility that I mentioned. It is basically the part that refers to the creation of their own startups. Now, the European Competence Framework for Researchers, so ResearchComp, that I showed in my presentation, it contains also skills that are related to knowledge valorization. So that is really important. We hope that researchers will develop these skills, of course, with the support that they need in this respect. I also want to mention that, we have a mutual learning exercise addressed to member states to support the exchange of good practices between member states on the implementation of the Council recommendation, which overall includes also the aspect of intersectoral mobility and entrepreneurship. But we also just concluded another mutual learning exercise which was focused on knowledge valorization and intersectoral mobility. So it is indeed something which is high on the agenda, and we hope that the recommendations that stemmed from this mutual learning exercise just concluded will support the implementation at national level of all relevant actions.
Thanks a lot. So, thank you once again to Jessica, Dario, Michele, and Cristina for their very interesting contributions, and to the audience on site or online for the thoughtful questions. A last round of applause to accompany them off stage. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Now it's time for a well-deserved break. But before this, I need 1 more minute of attention, just to share with you some practicalities about how the day will continue. So the program will resume at 11:30 in 30 minutes with the first batch of morning workshops. I kindly ask the Regi to show exactly the slides with all the rooms that have been allocated to the different workshops. This means that after the coffee break at 11:30, you go to the room of the workshop you have decided to attend, you have registered for. The first round of workshops ends at 1:15 minutes when lunch will be served in the foyer area like yesterday. And then we will resume at 2:45 for the afternoon workshops. Same principle, you attend the workshop you have registered for. You have a list with all the rooms. They are located in 2 different floors, this one and -3 that you can also access from the other entrance of the auditorium. And I will see you again at 5 to wrap up day 2. I know you might be tempted to leave and sneak out. Please do not, because at 5 I will need to share with you some practicalities about the evening plan. So please be back at 5 o'clock and enjoy the rest of the day. Thanks a lot.